Welcome, my name is Scott Coey. I'm a Senior Manager in Global Financial Services at Amazon Web Services. Today we're talking about building a cloud-first strategy to deliver value and innovation at scale in the context of a digital transformation. And today I'm joined by Jen Goodison, the CTO from Engineering Platforms, and Kate Adamczyk from Global Digital Platforms, ITSO. And they are both part of Wealth and Personal Banking, or as you'll hear about it referred to a lot today, WPB. Jen, great to see you, and Kate, it's awesome to finally meet you. And thank you both for taking the time to join us today. I think one of the pieces that's been interesting in the growing relationship between AWS and HSBC has been looking at the business drivers for adoption of cloud. And you mentioned there about picking and moving the right things. And I've seen our team work a lot closely more recently over the last 6 months or so around this cloud economics piece that we talk about, and making certain it's not just a technology driver, but there's also, as I mentioned, the business driver, and also once we've moved something, what have we left and how can you help us look and adapt with that?
Yeah, we need to be very conscious about the decisions that we're making. We have a tendency in any large organisation to look at numbers. So we've got X here and we want X there, and let's just go for it. So actually what we need to do is look at which of those things do we want to migrate? What's the priority of migration? Because there are things that are working quite nicely. They are cost effective. There's going to be a lot of work to re-engineer them. Are they going to be the things that we pick first? Possibly not. And Kate, I guess you have a perspective from a support.
So I think the big part of moving services and applications onto new technologies is also thinking about what is going to happen afterwards. So how are we going to support it and operate it once they become live? So a big part of our work is focusing on new frameworks and ways of working, such as bringing SRE frameworks in our day-to-day basis. How we operate services, how we make them more resilient, how our disaster recovery procedures are more efficient and keep our services alive.
I think you made a comment earlier on, which I think encompasses that. You talk about the square inside the circle again, and everything with this adaptation and adjusting as you develop, moving to the cloud, but also, as you said, keeping the right things
Exactly.
behind.
It's never a dull day.
Yeah, it's never simple
No,
as we
never.
like it to be. Kate, I know we touched on it earlier, but I'd just like to bring it back around to the customer, your end customer. The P within WPB stands for personal. You are probably, I'd say, the largest by size within HSBC in regards to customers, in regards to your footprint around the globe. So with these ever-changing customer trends, global trends, and sometimes regional versus what happens globally, how do you keep up on the requirements to deliver on that strategy versus a regional strategy, and what are some of the best practices you have around that?
So I think that building shared hosting platform itself is good answer to that ever-changing landscape. So in our platform, we're trying to incorporate as many capabilities, standards, and controls as we can. So then our platform tenants can just focus on releasing code and therefore deliver new functionalities to our and HSBC customers. I think that the best recent example is COVID and how we responded in times of lockdown when people couldn't just freely go to HSBC branches. We as a bank had to respond to that quickly and release new functionalities to allow our customers to keep using our services while staying at home.
Shared hosting platform, SHP. See, I'm learning, picking it up from earlier on. It's great to hear about, and I guess COVID's given us a lot of changes and adaptations. I know I joined AWS and during the middle of COVID, and I hadn't met most of my team. I guess it's a similar sort of environment within HSBC or with the remote working, where you have to come together, but at the same time, thinking about the roles and responsibilities. How has AWS helped facilitate some of this journey through COVID or through all experiences in the agile journey? And what frameworks have you used to sort of accelerate the cloud adoption, I guess?
So we're in a similar situation. We are only really just coming back together face to face. In fact, today's the first time that Kate and I have met in person. And we have had to adapt some actually quite well embedded ways of working from very much face to face into virtually. So when I joined the team, so I joined this team through COVID. They were very used to coming together for planning, so for PIs. They were used to getting as many people as they could into a room, doing a very efficient planning process, and then going off and sprinting. We obviously can't do that. So we've had to adapt that very much into a virtual model. We're starting to do a little bit more face-to-face now. Whether we'll ever get back to lots and lots of people in a room, I don't know. We are, in my team, very much at the forefront of a lot of the ways of working and the tooling that WPB are introducing in our Agile journey. And we're not doing that just because we're told that we have to, but we're doing that because we can see the benefits of doing those things and the benefits of changing the way that we're working. And we are seeing a lot of rewards. It means that we can quite efficiently be pretty much following the sun in terms of development and support and everything else that we're doing. And so what we need from a development environment and a production environment perspective is an always on mentality. We're constantly getting people saying, you can switch your environments off at night. Well, there is no night as far as we're concerned. So what we need is a provider that's keeping the lights on constantly for us so that we can keep the lights on for our engineering teams. So I'm always saying to my team, our development environment, or what we consider to be pre-prod or a development environment, is our prod environment, because somewhere someone else is using that environment. So we need that environment to be consistent everywhere that we go, whether that's on-prem, whether that's pre-prod in Hong Kong or prod in the UK. It has to look and feel exactly the same everywhere you go. I'm always saying to my team that what we might consider to be a development environment is somebody's production environment. So whether that is the pre-prod environment in Hong Kong, the prod environment in the UK, or something else somewhere else, we have to treat it as a production environment, and it has to look and feel the same everywhere we go. So that a piece of code that's built and deployed in one market can be built and deployed in the next market without changes. And of course, game days.
So as we're driving the technology innovation, we're also trying to come up with new frameworks related to how we maintain those systems, also how to prepare our engineering and support teams to operate those. So with AWS, we came up with something called Game Days, which is a simulation of our live services, where there are two teams. One team will break our systems or turn something off, when the other team will fix it. So it's a great learning opportunity, get hands dirty with new complex systems and learn how to operate it and fix it. So during that learning journey, we also find ways to improve our systems. It never ends on delivering a platform. Is constant evolution and how to make it better.
Yeah, I mean, the AWS Game Days are a great way to do this mass education too. And I like the way you talk about two teams, one trying to break it and one trying to fix it, because it puts you in a real world environment. It's gamified, but it's safe, it's secure, and so it's a risk-free. I'm glad to see the HSBC team are like that. And some of the feedback I've heard is they quite enjoy these game days and these challenges of competing against each other as well. I want to talk a little bit about business impact, if we can, Jen. And you're the CTO for the engineering platforms within wealth and personal banking. Ultimately, your end customer is those personal bankers out there who talk about the wealth and personal banking room. What are some of the improvements you've seen in the systems and processes to reduce this manual interaction that we've been talking about, and sort of, we'll say, enhance efficiency for the customer outcomes, but ultimately a more seamless experience, a more customer-centric experience?
The work that we've been doing, particularly around pipelines and deployment of code, means that teams are able to orchestrate the various different parts of that pipeline in the way that they want to orchestrate it. So the way that the mobile team deploy code is going to be different from the way that, for example, the cards team deploy something, because they have a different estate. And what we want to do is to cut the time that it takes them to do that right down, so that they can continue to be engineering whilst they're also deploying. We're not there yet. We've got quite a long way to go. But we're doing a huge piece of work right now alongside the API migration, alongside evolving the platform to make sure that once we are at scale on our cloud platforms, that we can deploy at scale. And that's no small thing. That's a really big piece. But what that allows us to do is it allows the teams, once they've tackled their own challenges. So for the mobile team can't just do as many deployments as they want to iOS every day because they've got external restrictions. But once they can deploy as quickly as they need to, we can start to get features out really, really quickly to the customers. So just the other day, I opened our mobile app to find 2 or 3 new features in there. They're not huge, but they're features that have been deployed quickly and rapidly, and they're making a difference to customers. It's the thing that I've been asking my team to do all along is that if they're not building something or deploying something that's going to help us deliver features faster, then we probably shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah. And those were features on your platform.
There we
go. Yeah. I mentioned earlier about game days. I think one of the other great partnerships between AWS and HSBC has been this deep racer competition we've had. I think we went through the first round and we had 1,000 teams around the world. We had group CTOs involved, ExCo, and that was a great way to bring education around cloud, education around data, machine learning into a gamified environment where we actually help your guys learn and develop about code. I know I went through it, and I'm probably the least technical person sitting here, but it was a great way for us to adapt and change, and everyone's really excited as we move through to the next round of in-person competitions around the world to the accumulation. And that's just another example of how, if we come full circle back to the conversations about educating, encouraging, getting those engineers, those financial engineers involved to adapt, change, but still be excited about what they're doing. Are there some other things you've been doing with your financial engineers around that to keep them interested, to keep them excited?
They have opportunities to work on things that no one else around them are working on. They're at the forefront of some of this stuff. So they're the ones that are taking that first step. Yeah. They're the ones that are perhaps getting it wrong the first time and fixing it and doing it right the next time, testing and learning all of the time. And it's quite an exciting place to be. We are bringing in new technologies pretty much constantly.
We're mixing them.
And mixing them, yeah, yes. And we're seeing the benefits of that throughout the bank. So we're seeing that our execs and the people who can give us more resources and help us move forward are really behind us in what we're doing. You know, we're not this sort of small team. We are a small team, but we're not a small team who are sitting in a corner doing something and everyone's sort of staring at us. People are asking us for things. People are asking us to move our platform forward so that they can adopt it. Outside of WPB, we've got other areas of the bank who will be deploying onto SHP over the next 12 months or so, and that's fantastic for us. We haven't gone out to get that business. That business has come to us, and I think that's a huge thing for us, really.
And I'll take credit for it now, but that Deep Racer program is probably going to drive more people to you in regards to things, because it's a bank-wide thing and they'll come looking. Yeah.
Absolutely will. And one of the things that we need to make sure that we do over the next sort of 6, 12, 18 months is that the training and the development that's available for people is giving them skills that can be marketed, but also give them skills that they can use within HSBC.
And we've embedded some of that education and AWS experience and training straight into HSBC's learning and development, so you guys can do it there, which is great. And we've seen that there's an appetite now, I guess, for it, no matter whether it's a gamification or education or even just on the job. That appetite for people to learn is something you need to feed if you want to keep the workforce.
Very, very much so. And we've got teams in the value stream, so application teams, who want to work with us on game days because they want to get involved in having their application break on our platform, and then we work together to bring these things back
And if
up.
you think about game days, it started like very small, just within our area, and now it becomes something bigger, wider known within the whole bank. So people taking that framework and they try to as Jen mentioned, break the whole applications within the same, concept.
And lots of that we get asked across the bank, so it's great. Listen, guys, it's been awesome today. Jen, Kate, thank you for coming. I'm glad AWS could bring you together to meet in person for a change. It's always great to hear about how our customers are working, the enthusiasm they have, commitment to deliver and value, and we're very excited to be a part of this customer-centric innovation journey as it goes forward at AWS. So thank you very much. It's been awesome.
Thank you.